Morning guys, how are you? Okay, so obviously I think we're all in lockdown at the moment, so every week or so I'm going to make some food. I'm going to video it as we're doing at the moment. I'm going to show you the different stages. First of all, I'm going to make it really relevant to one, i.e. the course that we're doing. Two, more importantly, I'm going to see what you guys have got in your own fridges. I'm going to see what you can use up, because one, we've got plenty of time. Two, it's quite difficult now to get a lot of ingredients around, so I think we need to be really resourceful to see what we've got. I'm going to make sure that everything that I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you how to use everything up. So today we're going to make a fish pie, really simple. So any fish that you've got in your fridges, in your freezers, or down the supermarket, you can go make or buy a pie mix. Okay, so if you can do that, that's absolutely great. So today I've got three different types of fish. Okay, so we've got haddock, which is the smoked haddock, so this is the yellow one. Obviously we've got the salmon, okay, so it's an oily fish, and then we've got cod, okay? So three different types: cod, haddock, salmon. I've then got our mirepoix. So remember what the mirepoix is, so onions, celery, leek, and carrots. And again, look in your fridges, make sure if you've got anything in there, you can use up, okay? So this is just random veg, so things like anything like peas and stuff like that. Everything is cut into brunoise. So remember, brunoise is going to be the small dice, as you can see, okay? So you've got your carrots, I've got your leeks as well. I just happen to have loads of broccoli and cauliflower in the fridge as well, all right? So I've peeled, I've got all the trimmings. Remember, you don't want to waste anything, okay? So anything we've got, just make sure that the trimmings, the peelings, and everything goes into our poaching pot. So this is what we call a court bouillon. So we've got leeks, carrots, there's a little bit of garlic in there. If you have fish stock, please use the fish stock. If you don't have the fish stock, I've got some chicken stock in here as well. So that's been cooking for some time. While that was cooking this morning, I've also got some potatoes. So we're going to do a potato topping. So I've cooked that. It's ready to be mashed really shortly. So I'm going to look at that in a minute. First thing I wanted to do is we have to poach our fish. So we're going to be poaching it today. So this is what this is for. So I'm going to drop all the fish all at once in there, okay? And that will cook it nice and slowly. Once that's doing, we're going to look at our bechamel. So if you remember, we have a bechamel and we have a velouté, both of which have our roux. So if you remember, we have equal quantities of butter and flour. Okay, we mix that up, I'll show you. And then we're going to add our milk and potentially some stock from our court bouillon here as well. All right, so first things first. Okay, so we've got our fish, all right? So again, check that fish as well. Depends on where you've got it from and what it is. There may be some bones, so just double check. So the best way to check for bones is just to run your finger down the center, okay, either side, and you will feel the actual bones in there, if there obviously are some in there. So first thing we need to do is drop in the fish, okay. This really is not going to take long at all, okay? If it's got skin on it, that's absolutely fine, because we're going to pick all of that off shortly, okay? So that gets dropped into that. Okay. Right, so while that is just simmering, okay? Again, because it's poaching, we're not having to put that on a high heat. So I've got that on sort of a moderate heat, okay? So what it should do, it should just tick over, but it's not going to be rapidly boiling. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is make our bechamel. So as I said before, right, so this is always going to depend on how many portions you've got. So you're going to have to make the amount of sauce that you feel is right. So as long as you're making your bechamel with equal quantities of butter and flour, which is absolutely great. Remember, if you've got your whole bucket pack of butter, it can be margarine as well, okay? You can weigh it out. You can potentially guess, because I know you guys are getting good at that. So roughly, I'm going to do around 100 grams or so. I feel that's going to be right. This is going to be for my family as well. So obviously, a couple of teenagers, a couple of adults, and some younger kids. So between 5 and 6 portions. So just if you can have a look in there. So this is the butter that's already mounting in the pan. Okay, right. While that's mounting, I've got our potatoes. Okay, so any masher, I'm potentially going to put a little bit of butter, okay, in the mash just to soften it up a bit. So butter goes in there. Salt and pepper as well. I'm a little bit short of pepper, but there's enough pepper and salt as well. Okay, and also, because what I want to do with the potato is pipe it on. You don't have to pipe it on, because I'm aware that you probably won't have a piping bag. If you do, that's great. Luckily, I've got some from college. But again, you can put that on in a different way. So, nice and simple. The potatoes are going to take about 20 minutes or so. Again, because I'm piping mine, I want mine to be quite soft, and also I don't obviously want lumps in there. As you see, the butter's mounting, alright? All that goes on. Also with this fish now, with the temperature, I'm just going to pull that aside, because that's pretty much all we need it. We just need it cooking through, because the actual fish will come in. So I will pick this out shortly, but that should come out. Okay, so lots of cool, creamy, nice mash. Remember, when you're doing that mash, don't overwork it, because if you do, it becomes really, really sticky. We don't want that to be too sticky. All right. So again, that's the mash. One thing I haven't showed you, I've got some eggs here. Some people like to put some hard-boiled eggs in their fixed mix, and that's what we're going to do today. I will post the recipe as well later for you. However, they're the eggs that are going to go into it as well. So they are our main components. We're going to do the sauce now. So we've got our butter. Okay. Some flour. So mix this in. So remember, this is going to be a white sauce, which obviously needs our milk as well. As you're mixing it, you'll notice it's still runny, and that's because I've not quite added enough flour at the moment. So turn that down a bit as well. Okay, so that goes in. So the idea is just to still bring this to the heat, and you'll see it still bubbling in there. We need to cook this a little bit. Now, as we cook it, it's going to cook the flour out. What that means is the butter won't necessarily have a floury texture to it, a sort of floury taste, so we don't want that. So as you see where it's bubbling around, okay? All right, so okay, so I'm probably going to do this video in 3 little sections and post those 3 little sections. So I'm just going to, now this where a whisk can come in handy. So you've got your milk. You can heat your milk up separately if you want. That does help it. As you see, it goes in and it gets thick straight away. Okay. And guys, I know you're at home, but just always have a cloth as well. Get in the habit. Wash your hands. Again, obviously I've had a shower and washed my hands and everything before I started. I've got some bacteria spray and stuff like that as well. So clearly, important to do that. Okay, right, so even when you see this, it looks like it's got some lumps in there. This will come together. So as you see, okay, doesn't matter what milk you use, full fat, semi, anything like that. I'm probably also going to put in some of our liquid from the fish, all right? So at least, it's going to take a pint or so, and obviously it really depends on how many you're making it for. And the video I'm going to post, I'll put that recipe on there, and on it will be the amount of portions that will actually potentially create. So again, see how big your family is, and then that'll do. So if you see that now, it's coming together a lot better now. Okay. In actual fact, it's quite smooth. Right, so what I've also got is some of the liquid from our fish. So we don't necessarily want any of the bits in, but that has obviously got all the flavour and everything from things. So what I want you guys to understand as well, the sauce for this probably needs to be quite thick, because we don't want a runny sauce when we're making the actual pie mix itself. We don't want it actually to be that runny. What we need is to be quite thick. So as you see, that is quite gloopy, it's quite thick, right? Just need to cook that out a little bit. Check the seasoning, okay? And then basically that can be set aside. So I'm going to stop and pause that video now, and I'll come back to the second part now. Okay, fab. Right, before I start then, so the stock that we had. So all this in here, we were talking about not wasting anything. So that there effectively is a broth. So you can make that into an actual soup now, okay? So later on you can possibly strain it. Any other veg or, I don't know, chicken or anything like that you've got with that, you can actually put that in there. And then we've got like a flavoured some stock and broth, and I'll do that for lunch as well. So again, whatever I've got in the fridge, I think I've got some ham, I've got some cured meats and stuff like that in there as well, and I've got some more leek, and I'll dice that in there and I'll have that for soup. Oil and butter in a bigger pan now. So the bechamel is there. I've taken the shells off the egg, I've taken the fish, as you see, out of the liquid, okay? So all we need to do now is put the pan back on the heat. I've got some peas out of the freezer as well, I've got the garlic, all of this, yeah, will all go in. So now we're just going to saute all of this up together now. So this is all of our veg. Inside. Okay, so kept some of this quite, the broccoli and cauliflower is quite big, but again, it's all going to cook down anyway. Remember, this will go in the oven, okay? What I'm actually going to do, because it's early in the morning, is basically make it and then put it back in the fridge for later, and then I'm just going to finish it on the oven tonight for dinner, like 6 o'clock tonight or whatever it's going to be. So, in actual fact, I'll probably post a few pictures of the soup that I'm going to have for lunch as well. Because again, let's not waste anything. We've got it, so let's have it. So, butter, I sometimes put a little bit of oil in there as well, so the butter gives it the nutty taste, okay, and it's butter, it's nice, and the oil stops that butter from burning too much. So as you see, we're just gonna sweat this down. I've got my eggs, okay, Quite random this is, but it really just gives it a bit more protein in there, just gives it a little bit more texture as well. There's no posh way to cut this up. I've cooked them for about 7 or 8 minutes, all right? So they're a little bit soft, but not too much. Okay, I'm literally just gonna whack that in, okay? Okay, so nice and easy. Right, again, we still want a little bit of a crunch on there. We've still got our bechamel. It's always good to sometimes keep that stirring so we don't get a skin on it, and again, it needs to be quite thick. You'll see when we add it all together in a minute how it actually thins down because of all the moisture and everything we've got in the fish, etc. So, as I said before, if it's got skin on it, that doesn't matter because we're going to take that out. Again, we've already checked for bones. So all we need to do is flake this now into our mix. All right, nice and easy. Keep it fairly lumpy. Don't go too small. You don't need to. It's going to break up anyway. All right. And I quite like the fact that when you eat some fish, you know it's a big, nice bit of fish in there as well. So, salmon. Okay. As you see, lots of nice colour and everything in there. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. With this, you just turn it up there. It will just peel off, nice and easy. Okay. If you've got any things like prawns, like cooked prawns, then that again, throw those in last of all, because one, they're already cooked and they can overcook and become quite rubbery. If they're raw, you could probably put those in when you're sauteing off the veg, and that'd be lovely inside there as well. Any herbs that you might have lying around, then please use those herbs. Okay, so we've got all our veg, all the fish. It's quite yummy. Okay, you're going to need a pan, whatever that pan is, whether it's a good stainless steel or a glass pot or anything like that. Just make sure it's obviously deep enough. So we've got our bechamel. Okay, still quite thick. We can adjust it if we need to. All right, so what we need to do now, pour that in. You don't necessarily need to pour all it in, just have a bit of a guess. Yeah, to be fair, I'm sort of guessing anyway. Right, so, and then what you will see is that it's come together, okay? Salt, pepper at any point. So sea salt, or what do we got? If you're using smoked fish, you will find that to be a little bit salty. Right, so I now have my pan. Okay, this is obviously up to temperature and hot. Okay, so that gets evenly spread out. Smells really good. Please, by all means, taste as you're going along. All right, so that when you guys are tasting, as we mentioned before, I've got my egg as well. Chopped egg to go on top. Use some herbs or anything like that. Again, I've got my piping bag. Okay, so pipe bag. If you've got the potatoes, you can just try to evenly spread that on top. But boom, boom, boom. So again, doesn't matter what pattern you do. You can, you know, be inventful. I'm not that fussed. It's all up to you. And the only thing, I'm just hoping I've got enough mash. Ooh. Typical. Might not have enough mash, so what I'm going to probably end up doing is painfully making more to go on top. But that's okay. But guys, you got the idea. Again, just make some more, and then we can finish it on top. I'm probably going to get some cheddar cheese as well. I do like a lot of grated cheese on top, just to finish it off. So get that done. I'm going to post these two videos on. I'll put some recipes on there to give you an idea of what you need to get. Just be resourceful, don't waste anything, you've got it in there. Again, I'm going to make a soup from the stock, and we've done that before, like a broth, and we go. So thank you very much, and I'll post that on shortly. Cheers guys.